This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you...
So my answer to going to college was join the Army. 1992, my life changed forever. PCS to Germany with my two boys, and really try to take advantage of the opportunity to travel, learn another language, the culture. It was to me the dream coming true, that everything that I'd been going through was worth it, because I was seeing another part of the world that I wouldn't have had the opportunity if I hadn't been in the military. Planned on getting out in 2000. That was really kind of a part of a joy in my life, and getting married for the second time. And I looked forward to the future. Ended up kind of becoming disillusioned. And that was the whole housing bubble thing, where the mortgage jumped from bank to bank to bank. My kids were counting on me to take care of them, to ask for that kind of help. I've done to help other women is make sure that they know what their resources are. It's for a long time I didn't understand that my service in the military counted as a woman veteran, but nobody told me, hey Eva, you're a veteran too, until I had that light bulb moment and said, my service counted too. And I can tell you it's been a long road to learn how to dream again. The community was the solution, be it churches, be it nonprofits, be it veteran service organizations, or just people like myself. We are the resources. We are the solution to help keeping women off of the street, our women veterans housed and having the resources they need and not living in a car. Of the work that grows us as leaders for our second service after the military to serve other people in our communities.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the, if I can go back to the right thing, welcome to the From Pain to Purpose radio show here on Military Broadcast Radio. I have a awesome guest today, and I really can't wait to get into really introducing him more. I've had a phenomenal Thanksgiving, helped give out turkeys here in the Washington, D.C. area. So if I didn't, reach you on Thanksgiving Day, hopefully you all had a very blessed, happy Thanksgiving, and looking forward to the season that's coming up here in the next month. I've had some traveling. I'll go over the list of guests that I have booked up through the middle of January. So I'm really excited that I get to end the year elevate and, elevating everything on all platforms. We are full steam ahead, and it's so exciting. So anyways, I played that intro, largely in part because my guest actually helped me do some of the recording for that and helping me put together my story. And that snippet is the intro for my documentary From Pain to Purpose, which really is the driving force for this radio show, From Pain to Purpose. And I couldn't think of a better person to have come on my show, especially on his 30th birthday. And that is my second oldest son, Joshua Bailey. And so Josh is the product of a dual military family. Both his dad and I were dual military, and his dad, had gotten out and unfortunately passed away in 2014. He was in an accident and at work, and that really changed a lot of the trajectory in his life and our lives. And I think in some ways there's the reminiscing side of things that I'm trying not to get emotional, Josh, but I just love you. Josh and my kids have seen me go through a lot of things in life, and I'm thankful that I have such great kids who have been there and supporting me as a veteran and going through things. And that's why we have the From Pain to Purpose radio show, because we know that if I've had struggles, somebody else is going to have struggles. And knowing that, Josh and Jordan and Cody and Carrie, those are my 4 kids, that they have seen me go through things. They have seen me go through lots of pain. And if I can do it, somebody else can too. And you're going to get through it. And so anyways, Josh is a graduate of the University of North Texas. He is, I had to make sure I write notes. He's an account manager with a large telecom company. And I'm so very proud of him. And I will introduce him now.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Hey, Josh. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional too early in
okay.
This show.
You got me too.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, Mama.
I wish I was there for this great occasion for turning 30. It's a pretty neat milestone, and I'm thankful to be here as your mom, and of course the mom for Jordan, Cody, and Carrie as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I am getting to celebrate it with you and not in person. I think maybe that's probably the part of me that's getting upset that I'm not there in person to do this. So it's always been kind of sucky that your birthday has been right after Thanksgiving, and we didn't get to have very many birthday parties for you.
I've been used to it.
Oh, man.
It's never been easy to plan around, but y'all have always made a way to take the time to celebrate me, and so I love it.
Well, so Josh was born when I was active duty. It was not an easy pregnancy at all. So guys, I am a Gulf War veteran, and I probably experienced many of the things, even when I was active duty and pregnant, experienced a lot of things that are probably being studied by, some of our health counterparts, the VA and some of those other institutes. So I don't mind sharing if, the medical side of things. I had a marginal placenta previa when I was pregnant with Josh, and he was born 6 weeks early. I'd already spent 6 weeks antepartum down at Fort Sam Houston. So that I went into preterm labor with that, with the marginal placenta previa. So that was 12 weeks early. It was a scary pregnancy. And I almost didn't get to have Josh. But he was born 6 weeks early, weighed a healthy 5 pounds 6 ounces, even
Hmm.
at 6 weeks early. And by Christmas, you were really, really jaundiced, and that was another almost week there at Fort Hood in hospital, and that was scary because you were so jaundiced. They couldn't. They I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but you were so jaundiced that I had to help hold you for them to stick you to get an IV in. And they ended up,
I did not know that. Mm-mm.
yeah, they ended up putting an IV in your forehead.
Oh
That's
wow! I mean,
that's where they stuck you. That's where we finally got the IV in to give you fluids because you just were not in. You were a little orange Oompa Loompa.
yeah,
If
no,
you
I remember seeing the pictures. It looked like a Simpson.
Yeah, you were. And so it was really scary. And that was 2 airvacs from Fort Hood to Fort Sam. So the first one was when I had the marginal placenta previa, and that was scary, my getting airvac'd. And I forget what kind of helicopter it was. I think it was a Huey, because they didn't have NICU at Fort Hood.
Hmm.
And because I was still 6 weeks early, when I went into the labor, really the preterm labor, and they just knew that even though they didn't have the NICU, they airbacked me down to Fort Sam again, and had you overnight. I mean, you didn't. You were ready to come out and kick and. So that was tough. It was tough, and your dad was working and taking care of Kirby. You remember Kirby?
Hmm. Oh
He was a,
yeah, yeah.
he was a
Kirby was.
dog. He was a
I think he'd
beagle.
gotten sick from eating something off the road, but he's
Yeah.
he told me about that story quite a few times.
Yeah, he was a great dog. We got him in Savannah. So your dad was, he had been in the military. You didn't
Hmm.
really get to experience any of that from him and his
Hmm.
service. It was more of him being a veteran. Do you remember anything on, his experiences that he shared with you as a veteran?
I mean, he did kind of like he always held the military and a very high standard, and that was one of the things I always kind of looked at for potential career and future.
Hmm.
He was always very supportive of it, but as far as like his military career, I think he just kind of kept that to himself for the most part. But I got to see a lot of the, I guess, the after effects. Like, he would just be up all night, and I think part of
Yeah.
that is from being in a war zone. And so, spent many a nights up till 2 o'clock with him on our weekends, and would just sit there and play games or watch a movie with him, and try to make the time matter that he was most active. And um, so that was, but I didn't get to see too much of it. Probably until about high school when I got to meet some of your other, um,
Some of
veterans.
my other
Like,
friends. Yeah,
yeah, I
like
got to meet
Kay.
Kay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was probably the most I had ever really gotten to see from his service career. I mean, I've got a ton of photos, but I didn't
Yeah.
really, he didn't really have, I don't think
Did
he
you get
liked
to
digging
meet
into it too
Nikki
much.
too? Did you get to
Yeah,
meet
I did get to
Nikki?
meet Nika. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shout out to Nikki. Have to make sure I tag her on this. Um, yeah. So your dad, I think he had told me that he had worked for White House
Hmm.
Communications, and
Yep.
he was in Grenada.
Yeah, I know he's in
So
Grenada.
I think if he had PTS, which was not talked about back then,
Yeah, it
that
was
was
just shell
not
shock.
something. Yeah, it was shell shock, but they didn't, even as I was military, they didn't talk about that.
Hmm.
If you see any of these symptoms, there was no explanation or, conversation around those topics. So I didn't know what I didn't know back then.
Yeah. And that was one of the things, like, I think as his life went on before he passed in 2014, I think he started to kind of like recognize some of those symptoms.
Yeah,
He found a really good Christian therapist that he, you know, could work with and converse and talk through some of the struggles that I think uh, affected him. But and I think a lot of people should take the time to find a healthy outlet for some of those mental struggles that we all kind of go through.
did you see, so it was obvious for you growing up to see some of that stuff for him, and probably for me as well.
Yeah, he did not shy away from it. He wound up after his military career, worked as a, I guess, at-risk youth counselor
Hmm.
in Georgia and Florida, back when Eckerd was a thing, the
Yeah,
drugstore company, and so he worked with them, and I think that was where he really started picking up on, kind of a lot of the mental health side of things. He would work
right,
with kids that were basically abandoned at birth or had to steal to feed their siblings and stuff. And so I mean, my entire life, he was always very pro, hey, talk to someone if there's something you're struggling with.
right,
It's easier to have someone you can tackle a problem with instead of doing it on your own.
right. So the tough question then was, what do you think about the experiences knowing my service? Because you and Jordan got to see active duty side in
Hmm.
Germany. Probably don't remember too much in Texas. You were a baby in
I
Texas.
remember I remember my shots. That was fun.
We did lots of traveling in Germany.
Yeah, we did. I enjoyed it a lot. Like, I have the utmost respect for military service members, and it was, I mean, as far as being a kid, a blast. I remember going through Schwanstein Castle. We would go to, I still can't remember the name of that, like, natatorium.
The
But yeah,
Schwimmbad at Ramstein.
yeah, it, like, every once in a while, that day will like replay in my head, and I'm just like, what the? And
You have
then
these
I remember,
big memories of them, right?
yeah, and
I
so
took you
I
guys to all
mean,
kinds of castles.
oh yeah, we saw. I mean, I think they have the most castles in the world, but we went and saw a few. I remember had that. It was a type of gem or stone that had that purple one. I don't
Oh
know if you
yeah.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an
Uh,
amethyst, I think.
mhm. And
And
so it
I
was.
and I had gotten you the wooden, Jordan had the sword and you had the shield. Remember that wooden sword and
Hmm.
shield? Yeah.
Yeah, me
I
and
think
Jordan
it's in
would.
the closet somewhere.
We would definitely have a little too much fun with those when we were kids.
So, I think it's important to talk about your dad. His
Hmm.
his birthday, he would have been 62,
Hmm.
and to catch folks up, so his dad was a 31 Charlie, active duty. He was a ranger, wasn't he? He had a ranger tab, I think. Um,
I, I don't know.
at one
He didn't tell
time,
me much.
but I know he was a jump master. That much I
Hmm.
remember.
Yeah.
Um, no, maybe he wasn't ranger, but he was a jump master. So anyways, he was the 31 Charlie Camo, and we met in Saudi during Desert Storm. So we were a Desert Storm couple, got married in Christiansfeld, Denmark, in that was 1991. I always have to what's the Rolodex of dates on everything? Um, but we ended up getting divorced, and I got remarried, but your and your dad had dated somebody for a while. But my point on getting this was that, he would have been 62 and coming up on a third, and he was killed tragically. It was a work accident. So the show is called From Pain to Purpose, And I think that, we have to recognize for a lot of folks that it changed, it changed you, changed
Hmm.
me. Never in a million years did I think I'd be raising 4 kids with no dads around. Because I had, you and Jordan with your dad, Rick, and then I had Cody and Carrie with Mark, and he passed away in 2015. And so life has not been easy
Mm-mm.
since those 2 years. It's been pretty significant. And you had asked me, well, what questions do you have for me? And I put together some questions just so that we had some kind of framework. But here's the one question: if your dad was still around, he'd be turning 62 this week. What advice do you think he would give you for your 30th birthday?
For my 30th, probably first would be, just don't drink too much. He wasn't a big drinker. I think I saw him have maybe
He
one
was
beer my
not a
whole
big
life.
drinker. Yeah.
So that would probably be the first thing. But second is, always show kindness and love to those around you. Make sure your family and friends are always okay. That was always one thing, he did with me. He was like, nope, check on your friends, talk to them. He was like, do they need a ride? We'll pick them up. And so I think that would be the biggest thing, is just continue to do that. He was a very peaceful man for the most part, and actually pretty much all the time. And so it was always just, be the light in other people's lives. And I think that was kind of how he lived his life. He didn't want to bring um, any inconvenience to people. Not that he was an inconvenience, but it was just always see how you can better their lives, and by you just
Yeah.
being you.
Yeah, definitely. Um, let's see. So the next one is, what did he share with you growing up that has been most impactful, like about his life?
About his life, the most impactful thing, and I hate it because I can relate to it with his passing, but was just the amount of time he took out of trying to spend time with his mom when she had passed away when he was 13.
Yep.
And it was always, he always said he never regretted it, all the late nights, all the everything. And then once he passed, it was like, I mean, it sucked. It was really hard. Um, but there wasn't a moment I could look back on with my relationship with him and be like, oh, I regret not doing this. Like, I hung
Yeah.
out with him every chance I could. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest things is, always make time for your people.
Yep, definitely. Which is a people gardening kind of thing.
Mhm.
Let's see. Milestone birthdays like turning 30 are significant. What 3 things would your younger self tell you right now and about living life?
Um, Plan for tomorrow today. That would be the biggest thing. First and foremost,
Love it.
a lot of the time, especially coming up as a kid, where I guess my life kind of got fractured at a pretty pivotal age. I wish I had taken the time to think about, the years down the road, and maybe not be so in the moment. And so, I mean, I'm paying for it now. Luckily, I'm only 30, so it's not too bad. But trying to do everything I can to make sure, the next 10 years are set up, and I have everything in place. So that would be the first thing, is definitely start planning now.
Yeah.
Don't plan tomorrow. Um, see, 3 things. Can you say
Yeah.
that question?
Like what would what would your younger self
No.
tell you?
Um, One big thing, and I think just as people in general, it's easy to find comfort. And I think this is where the military is phenomenal, because it's an ideology they kind of live with, is be comfortable with being uncomfortable, push
Yeah.
yourself.
Yep.
The more comfort you have, the more you're going to be uncomfortable later, honestly. And so, it's something I try to live in my mantra, my daily mantra. And, um, I don't let myself get comfortable with whatever role I'm in. I always want to push harder, do more, and then, reap the benefits. And then the third thing is, why not? Don't be scared. Life is already scary. Don't be scared of it. Just go for it. And I think, you know, as long as you're creating pathways for yourself, you're going to find something you like and want to do.
Nope, loving. I love those sentiments. Hopefully I've influenced you on some of those things just with the way
Yeah.
I live my life.
Yeah, you definitely have. As I remember when I decided I was officially going to go to college, um, you were honestly like the driving force behind it. Um, I did not want you to be the only one with a degree out of our family. And so I pushed my way through my bachelor's degree, even though there was some, not so fun moments for sure. But as you keep going, I'm gonna try and keep going too. Hopefully, start going for my master's here in the next year or two. Um, and then who knows, maybe doctor 10 years down the road. We're not sure. Uh, but
You
you've
got
definitely
it.
been
You
the
got
biggest
it. It's in
inspiration.
our genes, man. It's in our genes.
I don't know how much I want to go through the dissertation work, but
Well, I mean, you can always get a second master's in something else that,
true.
it doesn't, because you have your BA in
Hmm.
business, right? So,
Yeah, it's a
or
mixed
yours
one.
was marketing, right?
Yeah, it was marketing and journalism,
Okay.
which ironically I'm not using it at all. So
Yeah. I'm sure there's a certain part of it because you're still learning you're still using the communication side of it,
hmm
though,
yeah.
which probably helped give you some groundwork in your work.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a pro at writing emails, so definitely paid off.
So what things about my service has impacted you?
I think, I mean, pretty much every aspect of it. We've gotten to do so many volunteer events, and I remember doing them growing up, and when you and Mark had your construction company way
Mhm.
back when, y'all would always try and find homeless veterans to employ and, help get them off the street, get them clean. And I remember, me and Jordan were always a part of that. And we would just be like there in the garage, just like rooting them on. Uh, and then we would go do, countless homeless shelter food drives and
Yeah.
work them. It was, you always instilled, hey, there's people with less. You do what you can to help them. And so there's that aspect of it. I think the drive you have has inspired me so much. I look up to you, you're my professional idol personally. So
Oh,
um, I every aspect of your military career has definitely played a part in my life.
thank you.
Hmm.
But it hasn't come with some other challenges though, where y'all have watched me struggle on the physical side,
Hmm.
all of the pain that I've been in. I mean, it hasn't been easy, and I've
No.
had to I've had to lean on you guys more than I cared to.
Yeah. But I think, especially myself and Jordan, I think we kind of knew the scenario, and not that we wanted to do it by any means, because I'm sure there was plenty of times we didn't, as children or young adolescents. But
Yeah,
it needed to be done.
yeah,
Whether that was helping with Cody and Carrie, or getting them to and from school during high school, stuff like that. But I mean, it's family. You got to do what you got to do. And if you,
yeah.
I've, especially with you, I think I've been around for most of your medical troubles more than anyone else out of us four. I've always tried to make it as easy on you as possible, because I know for a fact you would not have any of those if it was up to you.
Yeah. It's been it's a challenge managing, having medical appointments and procedures and, going through those trials of telling you guys I'm not feeling good today, or I
Hmm.
need a ride because I need a driver, because I have a procedure that's happening. For most of the audience who don't know, I have, some really bad back problems, have knee problems, and y'all have experienced all of that stuff, growing up, the Gulf War syndrome and headaches, and, you know, it's been a challenge, but I think for a lot of people, they need to hear that it does take family to work together and everybody, participating. And I'm just very thankful that y'all didn't quit on me.
I mean, you would never quit on us, so it's
No.
only right.
Uh, let's see. So where it's 4:30, my time. This is just, folks, just a general conversation. We had some framed questions, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to put those in the comments. This is his 30th birthday. So what did you call it? The dirty 30? Is that
Yeah,
what you had
dirty
called it
30.
before? Okay, I haven't heard that phrase. So
Hey, 30 is the new
um
20 now, so.
hey, I'm pushing 60 in a couple of years, and I feel like what is it? Remember there was this kid when Cody was in football and had said, this was, gosh, probably, let's see,
That'd have to be
he's
like 15 years ago.
23. It was at least 10, maybe 15 years ago. And this kid asked it, "Hey, Cody, is that your grandma?" And I was mortified, but I think I look younger now than I did then. So
Well, if it helps you out, so we went over to my friend Xavier's house for Thanksgiving. His grandma, who's like 70, is like, "You're old now." I was like, "Oh, thanks."
hey, if you start getting wrinkles and
I find a gray hair every once in a while.
oh no way.
Hmm.
Are you
Hoping for
gonna
salt and pepper.
yeah, it's all right, guy, a woman likes, a guy that's got some of that, graying, there's a certain finesse about the graying. um so what goals do you have for yourself in the next decade?
Next decade, well, for sure, marriage. It's something I think it needs to be part of my life. I've had a great family, but I do want my own. And
Yeah.
so there's that. Children, buy my first house will probably be before both of those. Hopefully, that will be within the next year if everything goes well and according to plan. Um, and then kind of just get, I guess, adulthood kicked off, really. I'm 30, and I feel like I tell people, I still feel like a child. I can go out and have fun and do whatever I want for the most part. I just have big boy money
Responsibly.
now. Yeah, responsibly, but it's just like, it's time to get into that next phase of life and hopefully
Yeah.
start setting up for, a family and getting everything. So just trying to get all the duckies in the row and get a nice plot of land for now.
Well, I think fortunately, I've been a homeowner, and you've learned a lot about, working at the house from there,
Hmm.
to be able to do it yourself. So hopefully I've taught you guys right. Y'all will all be able to be successful homeowners. I think Jordan's looking at buying a house too.
Hmm.
So, hey, as long as you can at least mow the lawn, that's a good start.
Oh, I'm gonna get goats. I'm not gonna be mowing the lawn. The goats are gonna mow the lawn for me.
Oh, well, that comes with a whole different set of work. I'm not trained in that one. So
Oh, I think I'll be able to figure it out, but it'll be worth it. I can get some tax breaks.
true, true. But no, sounds like good plans. Good plans. But then education, you said you're looking at that as well. You
Hmm.
got a lot of balls up in the air, just
I
careful how
mean,
you manage all of that.
it's what you got to do. I know it's going to be a lot of moving pieces here for a while, but I think if I can do everything right, hopefully I can have early retirement. Aiming for 55. I do not want to hit 65, and if they even move it up to 70, that just does not sound like a good time to me. I want to
I
try
know.
and I want to try and
You
get it all taken
know,
care of.
I agree because, I've seen people at work that they worked and worked and worked until, they are pushing 70, and then they
Hmm.
retire, and a month later they're passing away.
Yep.
And where was that extra life of just enjoying retirement? Maybe that's why I'm still trying to make sure I enjoy the fun now. And, you know, I got too many places to go on my living list. And
Yeah.
I got to fund my living list.
I mean, that's one of the key things I think, we've seen more in the most recent years, and I think more people are appreciating the fact that you need to live life. You cannot live to work by any means.
Yeah.
I think I have a pretty healthy work-life balance. The second, I'm sure a lot of managers don't like it, but the second five hits, I'm off the clock. So I'm gonna treat it that way. I have
Yeah.
to do the things that keep me sane, and I want to go have fun. I don't want to be just stuck in work or my apartment. So
Right.
it's and I love that the military is getting more like that. I've got a friend that's in the Navy, and so he's taking a trip out to, I think it's Singapore, but he was like, no, like like they make sure we have time to go do stuff. It's not work, work, work all the time, but
Right.
those allotted 40 hours a week, hey, you're working your butt off, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah. Work-life balance matters, you know.
Hmm.
But you and I and Jordan, I think we want to go to Chile too. So that's another trip, because that's where your dad was from. He was
Hmm.
naturalized from Chile to the United States. So, um, you know, we have to plan that trip too.
Yeah, I think that'll be a pretty good one to plan. I look forward to it. I've been brushing up on my Spanish, so hopefully it's I'll be able to talk well enough down there.
I have to look and see. Is it the same Spanish that I've already been? I mean, I did okay in Spain, so I
Yeah,
wonder.
yeah. I mean, they're not speaking Castilian Spanish, I don't think, but they're just speaking just Spanish. It's kind of like how you go to different parts of Mexico. They all have
Yeah,
a different dialect or different
right,
slang, but theirs is primarily Spanish. I know it's mainly like Brazil, where you're going to see a huge influx of different languages.
right. Well, I have to figure out. Maybe that's my 60th birthday, but that's really for y'all. That y'all wanted that because that's where your dad was from. So it'd have to be when I'm 60. But
Oh, well,
I
we'll figure out a time to do it.
we'll
Go
figure
hike
it
the
out. I
hike
still
the
want,
Andes,
huh?
hike the Andes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what part of Chile he was from. I mean, I know it's
Santiago.
Santiago,
Mhm.
but I don't know if it was Santiago in the city, or they just put Santiago. It was really like, a little rural area or something. I don't know.
From what he told me, it was the city. He was at like one of the major, because I mean that was probably one of the things he talked about most, was just his childhood with me. And so um, I believe it was a city because it was like two teenagers that had basically just left him to the hospital because they were not fit to care for him.
Oh, I never heard that part of the story. That's
Hmm.
interesting. But I never met his parents or anything. Well, his mom had passed away, but I never met his dad or his sister. So,
Yeah, I mean, I've talked with his sister. He would always tell me stories about poking her butt with a corn cob skewer. Um, and then I've gotten to have a couple of phone calls with her and our cousins, their kids.
okay.
And so we follow them on Facebook and chat every once in a while. But it's, I guess, such a life far removed.
Right. Right.
It's just a little different.
Yeah. Well, we just didn't really, like I said, didn't ever get to foster that connection because
Hmm.
he didn't communicate with them very much. Like I said, I never met them. So,
Well, a lot of it, I mean, as far as I've been told, was all kind of stemming from his father.
yeah,
Because his father definitely had PTSD as well. But when their mom died, like literally, I think it was in like 7 months or 8 months, their dad had already remarried,
yeah.
and so that was when my dad was like, "All right, I'm out. I'm going to the military. Bye."
Yeah. His mom had lupus, that much I knew,
Hmm.
he had said,
Hmm.
and, she was allergic to the sun and had lots of skin problems, and, she could only go outside at night, and I think you remember him saying he would, you know, he would sit out there and watch the stars with her and talk with
Take a
her at
stroll.
night. Yeah. Throw the basketball or whatever, and she'd sit out there and, that's the only time that she could really get outside was at night. And it's just kind of interesting, that shaped our life. It shaped your life and connection with him because some of those habits didn't change with sleeping at night,
Yeah,
with the
total
lack
night owl.
thereof. And but that, but I was active duty and, working during the day, so I didn't ever really get to see him, because he was asleep when I was at work, and I didn't see him at night because I was asleep. And
Yeah.
it was definitely a trial, um, to say the least. But we had a lot of good support from his company when he passed away, and that set you guys up, pretty good for a
Put,
while.
put me
And
through school. That and your benefits.
all right. So, what is your word for the year for 2025? Did you have a word for the year?
Boy, I didn't have one for the last year. I don't even think I have one for this upcoming year. But I guess if I had to pick one, it would just be push. You
Push.
know, life's always going to throw you curveballs. And I think you have to be willing to adapt and just kind of push through obstacles. Um, and don't let anything or anyone stop you from getting what you want. I mean, do it morally correct, but don't let there be a barrier if there's not one.
Right. My word for the year was elevate. You
Like that.
know, yeah. I always choose a word for the year. I don't believe in having, the New Year's resolution, because those
Hmm.
resolutions that, you can break. And I've always tried to, encourage you guys to have a word for the year, because it's like, you can put that word on a sticky note or write it on your mirror and keep it in focus as a reminder that, it's a core thing that keeps you moving throughout the year.
Hmm. Yeah,
Just
no, I
saying,
think
centered, I think, is the word I'm looking for.
I actually think Cody and Carrie, I think, kind of do something like that. And I always see writing on their mirror, and
Yeah,
they're like little daily reminders to do whatever they need to do.
yeah.
Um, but I always see them with it on the mirror. I'm I'm not one to really do that. I don't even write, except for my emails. But I think I'm trying to get more into it and find some sort of outlet.
Yeah. So do you have so Cher, do you have you are the one person that actually I I was inspired to even podcast at
Hmm.
all to begin with. You and X and some of your friends, y'all had a podcast for
Hmm.
what, 2 years? Y'all did it for 2 years, I think.
Yeah, we did it for 2 years, fantasy football.
Yeah,
Yeah, we loved it. It's just we all started kind of getting into more serious roles within our respective industries, and then one of our co-hosts, he wound up having his baby and a family, and so
yeah,
we, I mean, we don't know if we're going to keep doing it, but for now, we're just focusing on the things we feel like maybe are a little bit more important. But yeah, it was fun. It's definitely a podcasting is not given the credit it is due for the amount of work you have to do, research,
Right.
writing, because we would sit there and like pre-plan our script for the most part, or at least an outline, and be like, hey, this is the player we're talking about. These are the bets we're going to talk about, or whatever. And then, all the editing work and everything, we were, shoot, I think on a weekly basis, we were probably putting in an additional 40 hours a week, I think, and just in basically a second job.
Right. I remember, and y'all were doing it in that media room at the house, and equipment was a big thing. Not everybody had the same equipment, so that was part of it. But y'all edited yours. That's why I think I like this platform better, because literally, we had some kind of questions that we thought about, but this is completely live and edit free. That's the beauty thing about it. I think if y'all had a platform like this, it would have made life so much easier. And you don't overthink it,
Yeah, I think that would have actually been super helpful. I don't think there was quite as many like streaming services that were available at the time. Because we
Yeah.
wound up using Teams, and man, that was at times a total nightmare just in audio. We could have all been in the same room, and it sounds like one person's 40 feet away from their mic. So
Right.
it had its challenges. But maybe in the future, we'll start back up. We've all been getting much closer, and I think if anything, we've all taken the time that time we had and figured out different ways to hang out. Like we're going golfing next week, so that'll be fun.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
one of the golfing's one of the things that you picked up from Steven. Y'all got the golfing lessons when y'all were young, and he was a Navy veteran. So that was pretty cool that I thought that he had, imparted that stuff on you guys. Mark, took y'all golfing. I took you golfing.
You were a pro-am golfer for a little bit there, Mom.
No, not pro-am. No, not pro-am. But don't worry, I've got goals. Hey, there's the VA has golfing as one of the sports for the senior games. I qualify for senior games now.
Hey.
But I have to go get my handicap. And I haven't played enough games to know what my handicap is. So,
well, you're in a gorgeous part of the U.S. that has great golf courses. I've been looking.
I don't know. You'll have to see. I have to get back in and join the ladies. Do some of that. But then that takes away from my hiking. It's challenges.
It's a hike in itself. You can always just walk the course. You'll not have fun doing it.
Yeah, true. I know. I have to look at it there, but it's not the AT. But I need to get you guys to join me sometime and do the Camino. I think y'all would really like the Camino.
Oh, I'm down. I just got to figure out a time to get over there. Luckily my PTO resets next year, so then we can definitely schedule some time.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to plan it. Let's see, for 2027, because I want to take Carrie to Portugal next year. So there's that goal, and maybe take you boys to Spain with me and do part of the Camino Frances again.
I'm down for it.
I don't know. We'll figure out which one to do. But I think you would totally love the vibe, the food, yes, you can
Everything.
drink on the way. I think y'all would have a great time. Just make sure you keep your passport, up to date and everything.
Yeah, I do need to get it redone, but yeah.
Oh,
we'd
well,
be down for it.
Better start planning that now. But we've got to talk about Christmas. I'll be there the 24th, so we'll have to figure out what we can do to get everybody together.
I don't think it'll be hard. We'll get it.
Yeah, well, we had the hibachi thing we used to do. But now Jarrett moved away, and that's the hard part for people is the dynamics when people move around and do different things in life. It gets a little bit more complicated to
Oh yeah.
get together. You have to be a little bit more deliberate. And I think this is our first year. It's my first year not doing Thanksgiving with everybody there. I was here in town trying to help, stay with Dad. And so it's interesting to not do all of the holidays together that I used to do there. So that's probably why I was a little emotional too, just not getting to do Thanksgiving with you guys. But how do we do Christmas? I'm going to have to put in an Amazon order to have all the food delivered. Because we have to have breakfast casserole.
Oh, I'll make the breakfast casserole. We got that.
Oh, you're going to make it? All right.
Yeah, I can cook, Mom. Come on.
Yeah, but what time are you going to get there?
That's a better question.
Yeah, see?
I like my sleep.
I know. Who'll be starving? Josh, I know what you can do is if you get it ready, bring it over, and then I can pop it in the oven in the morning so we can still eat breakfast casserole.
I can do that.
Sometimes, folks, this is what you have to do. You have to make arrangements on the fly and figure out how do we navigate this stuff. But I think that's really been part of the dynamic of how we've been able to navigate things too over the years, is being flexible and being able to get through any of those obstacles, changes. What was the word you said a while ago?
Push.
Well, yeah, you just kind of push through it, but it's just really being flexible to navigate. And we've always, I think, just kind of rolled with things the best we could, no matter what obstacles were in our way, what things in life changed that we were not anticipating,
It's only, I always think an obstacle is really, for the most part, only an obstacle if you let it be. There's always ways around or over, or sometimes you got to go through a wall. That's life. You have to, if you let everything stop you, and you don't have a movement continuing, pushing life forward, time's going to keep going. You have to keep up with it.
Yeah.
So as long as you try, there's plenty of times throughout life you're going to want to hang out with friends or do something, and they're not able to. Well, okay, maybe not this weekend, but how about next weekend? And they're like, oh yeah, I'll free that weekend.
Yeah.
So just don't let there ever really be obstacles where there may not even be an obstacle. It's just a quick change.
Negotiate around it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Makes sense. Anything I should have asked, but I didn't think about asking you? That's usually my closer question.
Oof. I think it's different for me than, I guess, most, or a good chunk of Army brats and military brats. We kind of had a more unfortunate exit from the military because of your injury. And so it's kind of hard to say there's something else, because a lot of my childhood was, I guess, pretty standard compared to a bunch of the military brats who, they grow up fully in that system with their parents traveling all the time while they're younger. And so, it's kind of hard to talk to that, I guess, point of view for myself. The biggest thing is between you and my dad's military services, as a child of that environment, there's going to be plenty of tough moments, but there's plenty of great moments too. All you can do is try and, I guess, be a little bit of peace for your parents. And understand, especially just how much the generations have changed. I think you got to work with a lot of grace in life. And I know there's a lot of people that wind up holding, I guess, holding their parents to too high of a standard when it's their first time through life as well. You know,
Yeah,
I think a lot of people need to just give grace. You know, we're all trying to figure this out day by day.
exactly. And the changing political climate can make people a little bit more on edge, and things happening, I think, in the news puts us on edge. We're a little bit more anxious, missing some of the camaraderie. We age, and, different challenges health wise can come up. And, y'all have been phenomenal. I'm just letting you know, y'all have been phenomenal supporting me. I think your dad would be really, really proud of the man that you've become. Because you're always there. I have a procedure scheduled for January, and you're like, hey, I got you, no problem.
I got a day off work. I'm down.
So I don't know. Y'all are great. Have a great, safe party tonight. Wish I was there. And, tell everybody I said hi. Can't wait to meet Megan. Hopefully I get to meet
I'm
her
very
at
excited for her.
Christmas.
Oh, you will. You will. You're gonna love her.
I don't know. I was trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, I think we asked all of the questions that we. Did you have a question for me? I've
I
got a
do.
couple of minutes.
I do. So, because you were more cognizant during, I guess, that time of my life within the military, what are some challenges that you think other military members need to be aware of, inside the military with having children, and then also outside of, once they've been discharged?
Oh, sure. I think the biggest thing for me when I was active duty is I got involved because y'all were young. I got involved with being a parent representative at the daycare. I don't know if you knew that, but I was, they had like a board for the daycare at Post at Fort Hood. And then in Germany, well, I was one of the parent leaders who was trying to, be a voice for the parents with kids at the daycare system. So I guess that leadership side has always been kind of in there for me, to watch out and to be a voice for my kids, even at daycare. But then I also did that when I got out with, being a
PTA.
member of PTA, Boy Scouts, got involved with Boy Scouts. I was a leader, and Mark was a scoutmaster. So I think it was really just getting involved with your kids' lives and being a participant. Cody played football, and I was out there being a line marker.
Yeah,
I
remember
was
that.
down there moving the down marker. I was involved. I didn't just, sit on the sidelines, and, I participated. I always saw my role as a parent was not to micromanage or helicopter, but to make sure that y'all had the tools that you needed for you to live your lives. You are the ones that had to pick up the tools and use it. So my job was just making sure you had the tools. And, I think that was one of the biggest benefits that I saw, even from the education standpoint. And I'm so thankful that you took advantage of it. Was I had that benefit, and you used the tool,
Oh yeah.
So we're at a close. I've got about a minute to pop up and show upcoming guests. Joe Bulldog Adcox is he's a trainer. So trainer Joe is going to come on December 6th. David Morrow on the 13th. Rush, he's from the Frisco area, December 20th. Brian Sims, we have some mental health to talk about on December 27th. Samantha Jean Jasso is going to be live in person at my home in Texas on January 3rd. She's got some exciting things that she's been doing. And Vets in STEM is January 10th. That's with my good friend Gerald Bennett and Ricky Ritchie, I think is his name. Brain cramping. So anyways, great lineup coming up through January 10th, and I will see you all next week. And Josh, stay on afterwards, and I will wish you another happy birthday and say goodbye to everybody. So thank you all for joining the From Pain to Purpose radio show. This has been Eva Fulton and my son, Joshua Bailey. Y'all have a great week.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.